All right, video cut me off, but we'll keep going. So we highlighted caramels because that's important for us to know. He sold them to a candy store. One day, an English candy store placed a large order. Hershey did not have enough ingredients to fill the order. A banker loaned him money. Hershey filled the English order. He filled orders in America too. He sold so many caramels, he paid back his loan early. He also built himself a house and took trips around the world. So I see a lot of things here about money. I see that a large order would mean large money. I see he had a loan, he had to get some money from the bank. I see that he paid it back, and that because he paid it back, he could build himself a house and take a trip around the world. On a trip to Germany, Hershey looked at chocolate making machines. He bought a few to make a chocolate coating for his caramels. His chocolate caramels were a big hit. Soon he stopped making caramels and made only chocolates. So now we have a combination of chocolate caramels, chocolates. If they're a big hit, that's another way of saying that they're popular. A lot of people bought them. Hershey opened a factory in Pennsylvania. 600 people worked for him. Hershey built a fine city for his workers. Hershey, Pennsylvania, that's the location, had homes, schools, banks, hotels, churches, and a grand park. 6 wonderful things that he has there. Hershey's workers were happy. Remember, we want to know why he's popular. They're happy. Then the Depression struck. Candy was not selling. The factory didn't need all of its workers, so Hershey gave them construction jobs. They built a sports arena and a community center in Hershey. They built a senior hall and new offices. They made their town an even better place to live. So that would be another reason why his workers probably liked him. Instead of firing them when they didn't have anything, he gave them new jobs. So they were still being used. Let's take a look at the questions related to Milton Hershey and see if we can answer anything. Number 3, Hershey's chocolate-covered caramels became so popular that he retired from making candy altogether. He began making chocolates alone. He sold only these caramels from then on, or he sold all his factories for a large amount of money. I hope you circled B. We know he didn't retire. And then I could see why we might float between these two, because they're kind of similar in the fact that he made chocolates and then he only sold caramels. Letter D, he sold all his factories. We know it's not true. He did not sell his factories. If you look here, it says it right here that his caramels were a big hit. So he stopped making caramels and made only chocolates. So, only chocolates alone. Hershey was popular with his workers because he found them work during the Depression. He only hired his friends and relatives. He gave them long vacations. He never made them work. He found them work during the Depression. Remember? He gave them construction jobs. And number 5, the town of Hershey is located in New York State, has museums and a junior college, is where Milton Hershey grew up, or became a ghost town during the Depression. Well, if we look back in the text, we know it's not located in New York. It says right here, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Has museums and a junior college. Well, they built a lot of things. They built homes, schools, banks, hotels, churches, a park. They built a sports arena, a community center, a senior hall, offices. Could be that. It's where Milton Hershey grew up. Well, it doesn't say that's where he grew up in this front when it talked about him, so it's not that. And became a ghost town during the Depression. I would assume that if they were building all these things, that it was not a ghost town. A ghost town would mean nobody lives there. But we also don't have proof that there's a museum and a junior college there yet either. So let's stick with these two options and keep reading. Hershey made life nice for more than just his workers. He built an orphanage for boys. He funded museums. He opened a junior college. He built a library and a hospital. Town of Hershey has museums and a junior college. So we finished reading about Milton Hershey. We're going to move on to Harlan Sanders. But to refresh our memory, let's look at the questions. When Harlan Sanders was 6, what happened to him? He worked on a farm until. Which statement is true? The most popular item. And what is not true? Harlan Sanders. In 1896, 6-year-old Harlan Sanders' father died. 6 years old, father died. The child's mother had to go to work. Harlan had to learn to cook. He was the oldest of 3 children. He had to watch his siblings and cook them meals. By the time he was 7, Sanders was a great cook. Still, he did not cook for a living for another 34 years. So, it's pretty significant that they said the word cook 4 times. If you think about it, when you're talking about something, what the subject that you're talking about, you'll use the same word a lot. They just use the same word 4 times in just 6 sentences, which means that it has to be important for us to know that he cooks. From age 10 until 15, Sanders worked on a farm. So here we go. 10 until 15, Sanders worked on a farm. That's the duration, or the amount of time he worked there. Then he drove a streetcar for a year. Next, Sanders became a private in the Army. From age 16 to 24, Sanders was a busy man. He served as a justice of the peace. He sold insurance. He ran a ferry. Then he became the owner of a gas station. What I'm seeing here is a lot of different jobs. We have the farm. We have the streetcar, the Army, justice of the peace, insurance. So here we can probably note that this paragraph is about his jobs, in case they ask us about that later. Let's take a look at our questions and see what we can do with the information we've learned. When Harlan Sanders was 6 years old, we highlighted 6 years old. His house burned down, his grandma died, his father died, or his youngest brother was born. His father died. Sanders worked on a farm until he was 15 years old, 20 years old, 12 years old, or 65 years old. 15 years old. We wrote the duration earlier. Now, I'm going to leave you to do the rest of this. We have numbers 8, 9, and 10 left to answer, and we have one page left to read. I'm going to go ahead and read it right now for you, but I'm not going to mark the text. I want you to use your highlighter and pen to find the important information you need to know in order to answer the last 3 questions. So let's look at those last 3 questions one last time. Which statement is true? So information about Harlan Sanders. The most popular item at his gas station. And then which statement about Harlan Sanders is not true? Sanders gas station in Corbin, Kentucky was a popular stop. That's because you could get gas at a good rate there. You could also buy a fine meal in the back room. The food Sanders served was good. People started stopping at the gas station just to eat Sanders chicken. So Sanders changed jobs again. He bought a motel and cafe across the street from the gas station. The public was pleased. The governor of his state dubbed Sanders Kentucky Colonel. His cafe won awards. Then a highway was built. Travelers were routed right past Corbin. No one came to buy his chicken anymore, so Sanders took his chicken to them. He drove all over the country. He carried packets of spice mixes in his back seat. In each town, he offered to fry chicken for restaurant owners. They liked what they tasted. They ordered more packets of spices. Sanders called home. His wife mixed the spices and shipped them by train to fill her husband's orders. By 1964, hundreds of places served Kentucky Fried Chicken, so the restaurants were made into a chain. Sanders bought the first 100 shares of stock in the chain. The 6-year-old cook had grown into a $1 million chef. So use this information that we just read and all the notes that you have taken to go ahead and answer the last 3 questions. I would like you to take a picture of this on your phone or your iPad or your mom's phone or on your computer and upload it to Kidem so I can see the annotations that you put in. And then for these 3 questions, I will have them on Kidem for you to just put what letter choice you made. So good luck, and I will see you next time.